Hello Pokemon fans, this is ProPokeNoob back today to bring you another battle. I have been gone for a while, but I will explain that in a little bit, but first I want to get straight to this battle because it is an excellent match that I had. It's an Ubers match that I had against a person by the name of XSonic34. Now, if you're looking at my team, which again is at the top because Showdown, you suck, I have a Sand team, and actually this originated from the fact that I wanted to try out a Ho-Oh. And rather than doing a Sun team, because usually Ho-Oh, Sun team, you know, that kind of stuff, I actually just wanted to use Excadrill as well, so I figured, okay, Ho-Oh, Excadrill, Sand team, why not? I want an offensive Excadrill. So, just to quickly go over my team, I have a Roost 3 attack, Ho-Oh, Swords Dance offensive, Excadrill, specially defensive, or standard T-Tar, I don't know what that means, specially defensive or physically defensive, I don't know, but it's just a standard Smogon T-Tar. Rest Talking Giratina, physically defensive Skarmory for those extreme killing Arceuses, and the Scarf Palkia. Now, looking at my opponent's team, nothing really scares me except for the Kyogre. I've noticed that this team kind of has to play around with Kyogres because I don't have much to take it. My best check is probably Giratina, and that's assuming that he's not Specs with the, what's it called, the Ice Beam. And usually Ice Beam can be about a 2-hit KO, so it's a little difficult for me to get around most types of Kyogre, so I just more or less want to make sure that I win the Weather War, get Excadrill in, and try and take out as many Pokemon as I can, and make sure that if Kyogre is defensive in any way, that it's going to be weakened a lot. And I do have the Palkia as well to hopefully outspeed it, if his is Scarf and go for the Thunder and stuff like that. So in the ways of leads, I figured most of his team gets destroyed by Scarf Palkia, just in the lead spot, and I will be able to cripple stuff in the beginning. So I'm going to lead off with Scarf Palkia, and the one thing that I didn't want to lead off with is the Deoxys attack, because that's actually one thing that could carry the Focus Sash and do some damage. So immediately I'm going to have to switch out of here. Go into my Giratina, which is the best thing to really check this thing to see what he's going to do. He goes for the Grass Knot, which tells me that this guy does not have a Life Orb, and he's most likely has the Focus Sash, so it's a good thing that I did not try to attack him. Now, he is going to go for the Ice Beam as I go for the Will-O-Wisp. Now, I go for Will-O-Wisp in case he wanted to switch out, knowing that he can't really do much, but as you can see, he can do, because it's a Deoxys attack, and I'm going to have to go for the rest here. Now, the Will-O-Wisp sucks a little bit because this next part here, I know he couldn't control this, but he gets a crit, and like I said, this is really the only check that I can use for Kyogre, and now I have to leave this thing in, and the worst thing of all is I get Rest out of Will-O-Wisp and Dragon Tail. So, I actually lose my check to Kyogre, and I'm a little afraid now because, you know, Deoxys attack has just taken out my big, specially defensive wall, so I don't know what to do here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send out T-Tar, bait him to go for the Focus Blast, which I'm assuming he carries, and I'm going to get the Sandstorm up, send in Palkia, which means that the Sandstorm is going to be able to take out his Focus Sash, and then I'm going to proceed to go for a Draco Meteor, thank goodness not missing, which means that his Focus Sash will not activate, and I'm going to take that giant attacking threat out. So that works for me. But now he's going to send in the Kyogre, and I'm like, well, great. He's got the Rain up, and I have no idea what to send in on this thing. So I figured, okay, Skarmory, just go in. He actually goes for the Roar, telling me he's defensive, so thank goodness. But he roars me out into Alpha Ho, and I can't have that, so I'm going to send out Sandy, and Sandy's just going to set up the Sand, which I figured, you know, you can take hits well enough with a special defensive boost. He actually goes for the Thunder, just trying to nail the Skarmory, so that's good to know he has. And he also has Surf, so probably not Scald. I don't know his fourth move unless we've... No, I don't think we've seen it, but I'm just going to go for the Crunch, get some damage off. He does have leftovers, obviously. So now he's actually going to switch out, go into his Fortress. I just decided to set up my rocks. Even though I know he has this Fortress, he could easily just spin them away if he wants to. I just want to get him up. Maybe it'll keep his Fortress in for a turn. I'll be able to send someone in, such as Excadrill, to set up and try and do some damage. He actually goes for Toxic Spikes. Now, I'm going to go for the Rock Slide in case he wanted to switch out into anything else just to take me on, because you don't want Excadrill setting up, but I'm thinking maybe he's either going to try to set up a second layer of Toxic Spikes or just spin away, so I'm going to go for the Swords Dance. And he actually goes for the Rocks. Now this is kind of risky on his part because I've got a 550 speed plus 2 Excadrill that just took him out with an Earthquake, so he's just lost this wall. So that was kind of a little funny to me. I thought he would have sent this thing in earlier just to get rid of my speed, but I know that I'm faster since he's a defensive set, so that was a little bit of a funny play why he didn't switch out. To be quite honest, I have no idea, but the battle is interesting because he sends out his Arceus Dragon. Now, I'm going to send in T-Tar just to win the Weather War automatically, as he actually goes for the Will-O-Wisp. So that's good to know. He has the Will-O-Wisp, which means he obviously is a defensive to Arceus Dragon. But it was a little weird because he has Iron Head. And I'm going, okay, Iron Head on Arceus Dragon, that's kind of cool. And then I go for the Roost, I'm like, okay, this is fine. I'm okay right now. And then he goes for Roar, and I'm going, okay, what type of Arceus Dragon is this? And then I noticed something. He's not taking Sandstorm damage. So what he actually is the Arceus Steel. And he says he catches a ton of people off guard because they try and go for ice moves on him while they're trying to. So I'm like, okay, I know he's going to go for the Will-O-Wisp. I'm just going to send in Ho-Oh because now I know you're an Arceus Steel, which means I can Sacred Fire your butt. So it was just a complete just trolling moment, and it worked on me. He said you can only do this really if you use the shiny sprite, but now I'm just going to go for the Sacred Fire, get right back at him, get some super effective damage, and burn him. So that's nice. And I do know he can't really touch this thing. So Alpha Ho is going to put in some work at this point. I'm just going to go for the Roost, knowing that he can't really do anything to me, as he actually just roars me out. Not a big deal. He is going to send me into Palkia, though, which is a big deal, because this means I'm only going to get one use out of my Palkia after all the Sandstorm and Poison damage. So I'm just going to go for the Draco on the off chance he wanted to switch out. Again, if I had missed, he would have died to Burn, so really, this thing was going to die either way, either to my hand or to the hand of Burn. So it's going to be a double down. And I'm just going to send out the Alpha Ho because I figured, okay, he's got the Dragonite, he's got the Latios, this thing is the least useful. I'm just going to go for the Sacred Fire, fishing for the Burn. I do not get it. He goes to the Dragon Claw right away, and I'm like, okay, well, I could just roost up and proceed to destroy you. Completely forgetting that Dragonite gets the Extreme Speed, and that just completely screwed me. But you know what? I already knew I had this in the bag because I do have the Sand Up, and Excadrill can destroy both these Pokemon. Dragonite with the Rock Slide, and Latios with a Shadow Claw. Now, I send in my Skarmory on purpose, just to check to see what he actually is, because I don't want this guy doing any funny shenanigans with Fire Punch on the off chance that he has it. I mean, good God, he's got an Arceus Steel named Arceus Dragon, so I'm actually just going to go for the Brave Bird as he actually tries to set up a DD. Maybe he thought I didn't have Brave Bird, which would be a funny thing to think about, but he is going to die to the Sandstorm, so that's one threat gone. Either way, I could have just Whirlwind him out. He can't touch me. And now his last Pokemon is the Latios with the DD, and I'm like, dude, are you a DD special set with Soldu? And he's like, yeah. And that's just awesome, because he actually has Psyshock, which means that not only is he not going to get any boosts from DDs other than speed, but he's not going to be able to do any damage to this guy, because as you see, Dragon Pulse does a little bit over half, but luckily for me, I can just keep roosting up. And eventually, the Sandstorm damage is wearing him down, so he's either going to have to recover or he's just going to die. And he shows Roost. Now at this point, it's just going to be a long line of roosting and Brave Birding and Psyshocking and Dragon Pulsing and stuff like that until I feel comfortable enough to finish. Either he finishes Shards off or he finishes off Excadrill. Now at this point, I thought maybe he could just set up DDs, but I also knew that if he set up a DD, I'd be able to take him out with Brave Bird. So I kind of have him in a corner here, but either way, I could just send out Excadrill to outspeed this thing and destroy it, but I don't want Excadrill to get hit in case he gets crits. So I'm just going to let you guys watch this. I pretty much have this game in the bag. The reason why I've been gone for a week is my video card in my computer died, so I wasn't able to record or upload or anything because it wouldn't let me use any applications since the resolution on the screen was destroyed. So that's why I've been gone. So don't worry, I will try and get as many recordings as I can up for you guys since I have missed a full 7 days. But here I know he's going to go for the Roost. I'm just going to go into Chevron, the Excadrill, which destroys environment here, and I'm not a hippie, I'm just saying. And he's just going to take out the Latios for the win. So that was an excellent match. XSonic34, comment, rate, and subscribe, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this battle. This team has actually been doing a lot of work for me, as I've said before, so I'm going to try and get more battles with it. If you have any suggestions, I do want to keep Ho-Oh on this team, but if you guys have any suggestions for maybe what could improve it to, if you see any weaknesses, there's probably a couple of weaknesses on this team. Mainly being that Giratina, to me anyways, Giratina seems to be fairly reliable. Well, T-Tar obviously you have to rely on, but I mean, who doesn't? But Giratina seems to be kind of reliable for stuff, and, you know, Skarmory Giratina is not a bad combo. They can take hits for each other, kind of. The ice gives me a little bit of issues, because I don't really have a resistance to ice. Everyone gets hit neutrally. Actually, I just noticed that. Everyone gets hit neutrally by ice. But if you guys have any suggestions for how I could improve this team just a tiny bit, feel free to leave them. I will consider them if I like the Pokemon you've chosen. But otherwise, this team's been doing pretty well for what I made it for. But anyways, that will be the match. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Until then, peace.